This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so let's begin then. Very warm welcome to everybody. This is the very first time we actually, Alice and the Bootlock Consortium organize such event. And it's combined with the launch of our first cloud report on logistic coordination and collaboration, but also as Alice Logistic Innovation Award that is new. So for this event, if you experience any hiccup, apologize in advance. The first time we tried this, and we will do number of awards from now on different topics. And so thank you very much in advance for your support. A quick through the agenda. We have 1.5 hours. We really try to finish on time, as I know everybody's now schedule is very full. So we started to have our chair of Alice to give us welcome. Then we were very delighted to have keynote speaker, Thorsten from the European Commission. And then we move to the cloud. Then we will have a short introduction from Fernando Ali. Ali is the Secretary General to give a short introduction about Bootlock, and then we will have Carolina to present the first cloud report, and then we will have a panel discussion consisting of really experts in this topic, particularly from industries, and then the last and the fun part will start is announcement of the winners by the selection committee. So can I give the floor to François Rigi, our chair, to welcome participants to join this event.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be with you today, and super proud to be to this first award first session together today, and to see the large audience that we have. So it's really a pleasure. It's a pleasure to share that moment together, because it really shows how dynamic our topics are, how much all the stakes of Alice are at the center of the game, and it's really key that we all contribute to connect, to get together, and to make everything possible just to spread out the knowledge of all the projects that are ongoing, and to have that ability to really position the ones that are contributing to the max, to the innovation, to the collaboration, to the cooperation. And you all remember that cooperation is embedded in our name, in the Alice name. So that said, very keen to see what to reveal today, the award. That's really very, very nice that we go into that direction. And also I wanted to share with you a few news about Alice, simply saying that Alice is growing very fast. We had recently a few meetings with the executive group of Alice, and with Fernando, our Secretary General, and we reviewed the last evolution of our membership. It's really excellent. I'm very happy to see that more and more members are joining. Nevertheless, it's a challenge. So we are also evolving in terms of ways of doing, and Alice is really growing and evolving with this success. So it's a nice moment to have that session today, and I wish you all a very nice session, and would like to be with you. I will try to reconnect a little bit later to congratulate the ones to congratulate. Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Thorsten. Is that the right order of sequence?
Definitely.
Thank you.
So now warm welcome to Mr. Thorsten Klimke, Head of Unit Innovation and Research from DG Move European Commission.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. And it's great to see so many of you online. And while we are all, or most of us, are at our homes, the logistics and deliveries continue. So we might move at the moment, but a lot of other things are moving. That is actually I'm trying to create a semi-elegant link to urban mobility, because as some of you might know, or many of you might know, on the 14th of December we will present our new approach, a new framework for urban mobility. And one thing I can already tell you is that urban logistics and last mile deliveries will feature in there. In general, with the Green Deal and the Fit for 55 and the need to go towards zero emission efficiency, and everyone recognizes that logistics is becoming more and more important, not only in the urban context, but in the European context in general and global context. I think we are all aware that innovation is what we need. So and today you can even win a prize. But even those that don't win the first prize, all of us, all of you can win prizes, because innovation is what we need. We will not get there. We will not make it to zero emission logistics if we don't have innovation. No? And here are huge opportunities for innovative concepts, innovative technologies to really have a long-term success. And we know it from those of us working on research and innovation. We know that we have seen a lot of excellent projects and excellent results of research and innovation projects in Europe. We have seen them in the previous framework programs. We have seen them most recently in Horizon 2020, and now we're starting with Horizon Europe. But we also know that we're struggling to bring the excellence we create in science to the market and to create real innovation. We need this innovation more than ever, as I said, and these opportunities will be taken, and we hope that they will be taken by Europeans. So our focus, our aim is, of course, to see that this excellence in research can be transferred to the markets in Europe and beyond. So in Horizon Europe, you can see even more than in the previous Horizon 2020 and much more than in FP7 and before, the focus that we put on creating medium and long-term impact. So, and this, what do we mean with this impact? We focus in particular on societal needs, including the environment, but not only the environment. It's of course also businesses, it's competitiveness, it is digitalization, and we want to enable that the outcomes of research and innovation projects lead to further investments. So we're looking more and more at the links also between Horizon Europe, 10T, CEF funding, but also the many other instruments that are on European level, but also on national level to support this. And last but not least, of course, also to provide the necessary infrastructure, because when we talk about clean logistics, these clean vehicles need to be recharged, they need to be refueled. So there are links with the whole infrastructure for refueling, but also with digitalization, with the infrastructure, digital infrastructure that we need. So we know that, of course, a single project alone will not bring a radical change to the sector. So no single IT platform that we created in Horizon 2020 will bring about the physical internet. But each of these projects, we hope, and that's our ambition also that we formulate in the calls and in the topics, that they consider from the start, from the beginning. So when you think about project proposals and when the evaluations start, about how these individual projects can help us with our joint large goal of progressing towards these societal aims. And we have seen also that while we might research many technological solutions, and we might have really good results of projects, the reports, but also tests and trials, we see then unfortunately that after the project is over, many ideas linger around a bit. They're not really picked up anymore. We enter the valley of death. I think we all are aware and have heard of this. And that might be sometimes because something has been researched and tried and tested, and we have found jointly, and the project has found, that a certain avenue is not the best one to go. And that is totally okay, and that's what we also want to support with research and innovation. Because when we try something new, we have the risk of failure. And that is totally okay, and we can learn also from these experiences, and we need to learn more from them. But if there's a good idea that's not picked up, then we are losing opportunities here. So it is, again, great to see that in today's event you reward the innovation, and you reward the good ideas, and hopefully they will have a great life on the market afterwards. And when we talk about research and innovation, we have, of course, different parts of it. We have the more close to the market, really see how we can give new products, new solutions the last push, but also disruptive technologies. So that is something we support as well. So we want to see also research done in areas where for the time being, maybe no one really knows how to use it exactly in the future. But there we need to learn more from the results as well. So we need to think more about the follow-ups when we had these projects on disruptive technologies. What could we do next? What can we learn from it? From the policy side, but also from the industry side, from the regulatory side. So these are all important aspects that we need to strengthen altogether. Under Horizon 2020, we have funded roughly 120 million euros, or we have provided 120 million euros for purely logistic projects in the very kind of logistic only sense. This doesn't take account even of the projects where we have multimodal links, where we have relevant links, whether it's ports, automation, vehicle efficiency, vessels. We were looking very much on developing solutions, and now how do we bring these solutions to the market? We are in 2021, nearly 2022. By 2050, we want to be zero emission, efficient logistics with 28 years left, which sounds maybe like a lot, but I think most of you dealing in particular with large investments, whether from the infrastructure side or whether from vehicles, vessel side, know that this isn't so much time really at all. So we need to step up our efforts. We need to get better also, and you're working towards it, and we are working towards it with the work programs to look more at the user perspective. You have seen probably the city's mission, which has recently been launched, where we get away from specific sectors, even from the transport sector, and take the city as an ecosystem, not totally isolated, because of course we have the deliveries, we have the connection to the hinterland, we have traveling to and from the cities, but to come from the perspective of citizens, of businesses, and then see which solutions fit there well, and how can we test all of them together, and not only transport, but also transport connected to energy. The energy grid is getting more and more important for all of us, and for you certainly. If you want to recharge your vehicles, you need to have good access to recharging facilities, and especially fast charging when you have little time to recharge. How can we prepare the grid for it better so that the electricity is there? Where can you find your hydrogen for refueling? What about other alternative fuels? So we have a lot to do, all of us together, and we also look, of course, into the digitalization aspects of this, and the physical internet, and digitalization, automation of operations in logistics, together with low emissions. And when we talk about a project like BoostLog, and as a CSA project, of course, our joint aim and your aim, our aim together is to analyze and disseminate the research results of funded activities. So take the wealth of information that we have, the wealth of research results, and make better use. And when I move a little bit to the side, you can see behind me also TREMIS. To those of you who are maybe not familiar with TREMIS, just put it into Google or a search engine, a European search engine of your choice, or go directly to the Commission webpage and put it in, and you will see the transport research results of the last 25 or so years from a European perspective, but also from national perspective, because we invite also member states to put their projects in. So we do have a lot of knowledge already, and we need to use it better. And not only amongst ourselves who are familiar with research and innovation, but we need to invite and involve the wider community, and in particular organizations and companies which are unfamiliar with research, and jointly show to them how research can better benefit their business, how research can benefit them as citizens, as customers, as organizations, whether private or public. So there's a lot of information sharing and explanation also to be done. Those of you who had a look at the sustainable and smart mobility strategy will have seen that we're looking into setting up a high-level group on new mobility tech, with a view to have in the future better EU-level testing and trial facilities, test beds for mobility, to see how we can help from an EU-wide perspective with bringing ideas, technologies into the market, but also see how we can better model what the market actually needs and wants, how different policy decisions and policy aims impact on innovation. So something exciting ahead, and you will surely hear more from us. We will need a good bit of next year to prepare all of this, but then we will, once we are a bit clearer about how best to do this, we will reach out, of course, to stakeholders to do it together with them. The Connecting Europe facility is now operational and launched with nearly 26 billion euros, And not to forget the recovery facilities, you know, the 750 billion euros in total made available to member states. Large part of that dedicated for transport. So member states have at national level and at local level quite some money available soon to finance innovation. So for us, for you, to also see how you can get your innovation best into the planning at local level, at national level, so that we can achieve our joint aims. So just to finish with maybe recapping a little bit what we expect from projects to have a good impact. The starting point should be to involve users from the beginning of the idea. Sometimes, of course, from the research perspective, there can be completely new angles and new ideas, and that is good, and that is okay, and that is disruptive, and we need that as well. But in most cases, when we are talking about higher TRLs, when we are talking about closer to the market, the starting perspective actually has to be the market. What does the market need? What does the market want? What can the market expect due to policy decisions like decarbonization, like digitalization or others? Test cases and user cases are important for us to demonstrate the value of the proposed innovation. So we want to get away more from the labs, from the real labs into the labs, the out live labs, the cities, the 10T networks, the longer connections. Business plans and business paths is important as well during the projects. So to get an idea, not only for the partners of the project, but also from us, from the policy side, but also for future follow-up actions, what kind of business opportunities can actually arise here? Is there a business case? Can a business case be developed? Or are we far away from business cases? And what needs to change in order to come to those business cases? And last but not least, we are looking forward to having more feedback with projects, also beyond the duration of the project and the scope. So even when the project is over, it doesn't mean that the results should be also just be parked somewhere. So we are open to discussing with you if there's something we can help by either removing barriers or by other conditions to help with innovation, because that's ultimately our role. We are facilitators. We want to facilitate, well, largely our societal change and our societal needs in Europe, in all member states, in different regions and areas. But we also want to facilitate the need and the transformation of industries and their competitiveness, of course, because ultimately long-term competitiveness of the EU industries will not only help us with our societal challenges of decarbonization, of digitalization, of efficiency, but also will provide quality jobs now and hopefully also in the future. And we're looking forward to continuing this path with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the keynote speech. It's definitely the right place. We will demonstrate through our cloud report how we can connect the impact generated from research and innovation and the research innovation project themselves. And before we move to the cloud report, we can invite you to listen a short presentations about the Bootlock projects. And within the Bootlock projects, we developed the report and we also mapped project in the past and to be able to identify those achievements. Fernando, please.
Okay, thank you, Yanjin, for the introduction. I will present Bootlock project. Before going that, I also want to thank Thorsten and François for the introduction. particularly on the urban mobility framework initiative that will be presented by the Commission on the 14th of December. Indeed, we will have Thorsten presenting each in the ALICE plenary on the 16th of December. So then we will have the news quite soon after the release, together with the publication of our joint policy ALICE document on urban logistics. And today we are indeed releasing this cloud report on coordination and collaboration. And I also want to recall what Thorsten said, that when you look into innovation in technology hardware, the way to the market, maybe you need this 20 or 28 years to renew the fleet, particularly railways and ships. But when you go on more organizational innovation, the time to market could be still sensible. In here, we see the implementation cases need between 5 to 10 years to be realized, but it's much more shorter. And with the urgency we have in reducing emissions, we need to clearly look for these short-term benefits and the ways to reduce emissions in a shorter time. I don't think we have the time to move in 2030, 2040 to start reducing emissions. We need to go fast on this, and there we will. I think also Thorsten clearly said that the logistics sector is really in continuous change and actually requiring a lot of agility and flexibility in the supply chains. We have developed great and effective supply chains. And now that we had all the answers, it seems that the questions are changing and they are doing fast. It is, of course, that we need to address climate change and the roadmap for emission reductions. That's not much with its technology, what the technology can provide us and what is economical possible in transport. But we also need to deal with many other issues like truck shortages, unbalanced flows, lack of equipment, shortage of container prices, dealing with microchips shortages. Eventually, these days, concern is rising that some supply chains will not be able to deliver and support Santa Claus as well as they did in the past. And cities are also in a deep transformation, and e-commerce is making deliveries short. So logistics needs really to adapt fast and have the means and tools to do so. And coordination and collaboration, it's key for achieving that. So then we can make better use of the resources in the supply chain. The knowledge and capabilities are there, but we need to create a good framework to address challenges fast, agile, and probably collaborate more. And ALICE is completely aligned with this vision, and BusLog is a great tool for all stakeholders in the freight transport and logistics to benefit for that and also answer what Thorsten was sharing with us and the need. So here it's in this slide, you have basic information on BusLog. The news is that the project only started in January 21 and has 2 years to go. So then it's still in the starting phase. And here you have a web page where you will find more information, because today we are focused on a very concrete element of the project. The BusLog project counts with many different types of partners in which we are collaborating to deliver this project with expertise and experience from many angles, and ALICE is coordinating this to boost the impact of the EU-funded research. So in this, within BusLog, we want to make good research and innovation results are more visible to companies and governments. And we truly believe that there are many common objectives, as Thorsten said, between companies and governments, and research and innovation is key to address the challenges. We really need to fill the gap between what we need to do and what is technically and economically possible. and the only way to do that is through innovation. Trade, transport, and logistics is at the core of both strategies in the European and companies' perspective, and more industries are setting bold objectives in terms of decarbonization and social responsibility. While in the past the companies were targeting direct impacts, now they are looking at the fully supply chain, scope 3 emissions. So then big companies are more and more looking and be careful on how logistics processes and transportation is happening. And also this is seeing more the consumers are looking towards green solutions. So then on those areas, research and innovation has delivered amazing results calling for to be implemented, and we have today good examples. So then going in more detail what BusLog is doing. Through BusLog, among others, we look into the past and learn for the future. Thorsten said we had around 120 million euro invested in research, innovation, and logistics, but he was right that there were many other elements that were also supporting this. So then it's much more what has been invested in the past. And then what we are doing through BusLog is identifying key research and innovation results and outcomes to make them more visible and accessible for industry and policymakers. Additionally, we will dig in what we call implementation cases that are market initiatives or policies implementations that have causal links between research and innovation results and outcomes. So then from when there are research results and then we have seen these are implemented, this is what we call implementation cases. And for this first cloud report, coordination and collaboration, we want to highlight these 4 cases that we will talk later on, and will indeed they are the finalists for the award. So what we do is with all this, we try to put what has been done in different clouds, in different areas into actionable reports. And today we have one of these reports that is in logistics coordination and collaboration. And this is one out of a series of 8 reports in different areas. And the next one will be indeed in the urban logistics space. So today we focus in logistics coordination and collaboration, and Carolina Cipres will present the first report. So we will also gather what worked well and what did not work at all in those projects, which are the specific elements or ingredients that can make a project or program increase the likelihood of success. Through our outreach towards the European Commission, industry, countries, and regions, we will lever the findings and trying to make the programs better, fitting the purpose and really creating a better framework for collaboration. And as a concrete output, we will create an innovation marketplace linked to the ALICE knowledge platform as the digital arena for innovation seekers, owners, and investors of in this area. I think data platforms like Codis or Trimis are very relevant, but a lot of the information there is not that relevant for our stakeholders, and that we need to be conscious. And that's why I think through BusLog, it's really needed through BusLog, and with networks like us, ALICE, we can digest those results and share with our stakeholders. And then moreover, we cannot think the future will look at the past. So then that's why through BusLog we are also looking to new trends, policies in order to identify and provide good recommendations for future projects, not only the European programs, but also national and regional programs. So we expect that the resulting new projects will be seduced to be licensed with ALICE and then create this virtuous circle in which we can, through that collaboration, get access to the results of these projects faster and in an easier way to the companies and policymakers. And Then last but not least, and to conclude, we will take over the methodologies and the assets, and we will have the right tools to enlarge the ecosystem. So we are, as François said, growing and growing, and we are having, it's not only what Alice does, but we have a lot of collaborations with many other networks, and we try to create and enlarge the ecosystem at a scale, so then we can really make these required transformations. And just to conclude, we believe we cannot face current challenges in isolation, and collaboration is needed, as addressing the challenges may require, as I said before, paradigm change and market evolutions, and innovations will be more and more an enabler for that. And we really look forward to collaborating and working with all of you in future. And I'm really eager to hear the rest of the session we have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fernando, for this really comprehensive introductions about Alice and also about the BootsLog project. Let's move to the key point today. And Carolina, are you ready? I will share the presentation, and you can start with introduction.
Okay, so meanwhile, Jianjin is sharing the screen. Today I'm going to present the first cloud report we have issued in the framework of BootsLog project, and we will continue later on with the following cloud reports in different areas, following the same methodology. So we wanted to share with you the first one and how we reach it. So next slide, Jianjin. So the challenge is something that Thorsten already touched upon, and also Fernando completed. It's the fact that many European-funded projects exist. Indeed, we have seen 120 million euros only in Horizon 2020 for logistics projects, and global, since the FP5, more than 1,000 million. So this is a lot of money invested by the European Commission in logistics projects. But it's difficult to find and valorize the results coming out of those projects. And this is the challenge that BootsLog is facing and wants to solve. And one may argue that in the last years, the results of the projects are available because they are in Cordis database in the shape of deliverables. But this is not indeed what we call actionable results. This is results that you can find, but to valorize them, you need actionable results, what we BootsLog outcomes. And this is the exercise we are going to perform in the framework of BootsLog. Also, there are other reasons, other challenges, other reasons for results being taken up. And this is something that also Thorsten mentioned. And this is due to market fragmentation, regulations, but also to resistance to change. So this is a barrier that the projects have to fight and want to learn from the successful projects, how they did that. But also there is something linked to the attribution of impact. And indeed, Fernando was mentioning the four strategies that the Commission launched in 2019. And we are aware of the fact that some of the past projects already contributed to what these strategies are aiming for. It's only that we have not been able to attribute the impact of those projects to those strategies. And that is an exercise we also want to do in the framework of BootsLog, to be aware of the fact that we don't have to start from scratch at European level. There is already a lot of steps that we have taken towards the realization of those strategies. So next slide, Jianjin. Don't want to explain a lot because already Fernando mentioned the approach, but indeed the unique value of BootsLog is that when we are looking at the past, when we are looking at those 160 projects that Fernando mentioned, we are talking to the people involved in those projects. Sometimes because they are within BootsLog consortium, in other cases they are within Alice network, but even outside of that, we are opening calls to reach out to as many projects as possible and be able to talk to the people who were involved in those projects. Because the key learnings, the success factors, and the barriers they faced is something you cannot find written in the deliverables. It's something, it's in their know-how, and talking to them, talking to the experts is really giving us the added value on the learnings we want to derive in BootsLog. And also the recommendations for the future. Fernando mentioned we look at the past and we look into the future. So the recommendations into the future also come from these learnings, from these successful experiences of experts. And they're not only derived towards the Commission to launch new calls, but also towards future research project participants, because we want to incentivize newcomers to come to the European projects field and for them to learn how to do things to be successful. So to learn from the ones that were successful in the past. So next slide. The expected outcomes of BUSLOG, already Fernando mentioned, is in the one hand this map that we have done of the 160 projects, but with the outcomes and implementation cases. So the key thing here is that we do not focus only on the results, but on the actionable results that we call outcomes, and the implementation cases that are outcomes that where there is a causal link between the successful result and the funding, and they are already in the market or in the policy field. They are implemented. So we will have industry reports around different logistics clouds, and logistics clouds is the term that in BUSLOG we give to the different logistics domains. And we will have upcoming logistics clouds every couple of months. And the first one is on logistics coordination and collaboration. We will see it now. And some heads up, you may be seeing later in the report that some projects you were expecting to see in the collaboration report, or you felt they were also contributing to that. We wanted to avoid overlaps. So whenever there are some projects that are a bit touching on collaboration, but we're mainly focused on urban logistics or mainly focused on data sharing, we are saving those projects for future cloud reports specifically on those areas. So that's why you may be missing some projects in the presentation today. That's the explanation. And also we want to learn, this is something we'll do later after the cloud reports, we want to learn the success factors and the barriers that the successful implementation faced. And with that, we will derive the recommendations that I mentioned before. Next slide. So we move to the collaboration and coordination cloud report. And this is the timeline we have followed. And this is for you to understand the methodology that we have followed here, as mentioned again, focused on talking to the experts. So we started with the mapping in May, but we very early start talking to the experts that we identified in the mapping of the project. So experts participating in 3 or more projects of the ones identified in the field were interviewed. And then we had a first version of the cloud report, and we validated that version again with the experts to make sure we had gathered their insights and the information in the report was truly the outcomes that they had from their projects. And today we are really releasing this report to you through this webinar with all the attendees, but also that is being recorded for a bigger audience later. So next slide. So going to the report already, this is the structure that the report has. And this is more or less the structure that the different cloud reports will follow, taking into account fine-tunings depending on the topics. But first of all, we have the introduction and the methodology. And the methodology is important to make sure we have harmonization across all the different logistics clouds. And then we will see in the report the market current practice analysis. And here we are not only looking at roadmaps that Alice has issued in the past, but also at the companies that are already in the market contributing with solutions to coordination and collaboration. And then looking at the different projects that we mapped and we will see now, we have grouped the project outcomes around 3 main areas that are governance, business, and operational models, managing the transition, reducing the setup and transactional costs, and legal aspects. And then we have identified, stemming from those project outcomes, 4 implementation cases: Mixed Move, Trivisor, GS1, Smartbox, and CRC services that are the finalists of today's awards as well. So this is totally linked, this presentation, to later on. And then we will have the implementation paths of the report. Next slide. So as mentioned in the introduction and methodology, we explain in the report the projects that we have mapped and that lie in the collaboration and coordination cloud. And we have seen 19 projects since 2001. So in 20 years, starting from FP5, we have seen 19 projects contributing to the field. And as one can imagine, the first projects, the ones in FP5, had more to do with coordination, with network coordination. And then in FP7, we started to see horizontal collaboration. And we saw already there business models, governance models, and working towards reducing these transactional costs. Those was the first building stones for that. And then in Horizon 2020, we had already implementations of those learnings in specific environments, in specific sectors, in also specifically in urban domains. So it was like a step forward for the learnings in FP7. And we also saw the first projects towards the physical internet that indeed this paradigm shift is building upon collaboration as well. So this is the evolution of the 20 years of European projects in the field. Next slide. So we were looking at these 19 projects. We identified the experts that had participated in 3 or more of these 19 projects. And you can see them here in this slide. And what is nice to see is that they represent different profiles. So we have shippers, we have logistics service providers, IT providers, academia as well, but also other kinds of entities. And this is also nice because different profiles for sure have different takeaways from these projects. So talking to them really gave us a lot of information on the success factors and of those projects. And these are the experts that we interviewed for doing the cloud report. Next slide. So in the first section of the report, you also will find a reason for collaboration, right? Why we should collaborate. And it's indeed linked to the targeted impact that these projects have. So the Commission already was asking this project to have some expected impact in terms that indeed is contributing to, is what the collaboration is contributing to. So decreasing the environmental impact, increasing load factors, reducing congestion, decreasing the transportation costs, achieving modal shift, increasing reliability of the supply chain, decreasing lead times. All of these are benefits of collaboration. And what we have done is to assess the projects that advanced the most in terms of this targeted impact. And we analyze if it was non-demonstrated, if it was only theoretically demonstrated, if it was a proof of concept, or it was implemented at a small scale, medium scale, or large scale. And we classified the status of the project that further advanced in that impact, and that is the status we awarded in this table that you can see in this slide. Next slide. Again, when looking at the reasons for collaboration and this expected impact, we also created different KPIs to translate these expected impacts and allocated the project that contributed to those expected impacts. What was nice here is that we did a pre-allocation, looking at what the Commission was asking from these projects, but then validating with the experts the reality of that. These projects really contribute to the expected impact and to this KPI. So the workshop with the stakeholders, with the experts, really gave us set light into this actual contribution. So there is something you can also find in the report. Next slide. And in terms of scope and strategies, this is also something that the report wants to lay very clearly the scope that collaboration and coordination is taking into account for the report. So we are not only looking at transportation, but also storage. And when we are looking at transportation, we are considering different kind of flows. It can be urban, last mile, medium distance, or long distance, but also we can look at different ways of transport units or different ways of handling freight. So all of this is something that is being taken into consideration when looking at the projects contributing to collaboration and coordination. Next slide. And last, in the last section of the introduction is long because we really wanted to provide some insights into what we are talking about when we mention logistics coordination and collaboration. We are looking at the barriers that companies are facing whenever they are trying to do collaboration and coordination. And this is key here because the cloud reports are industry-oriented reports. So they are targeting companies. These are reports for companies to really understand what has been going on in a specific domain, logistics domain, and also incentivize their future participation in projects, seeing what has happened in the past and how there are already successful implementation cases. So we wanted to show the barriers that we are aware the companies are facing whenever they want to collaborate or they're hindering collaboration, and to show some guidelines for that to be solved. And this is very much in line with how we grouped the outcomes of the project. So we have barriers in terms of the scalability to do with governance, business and operational models, but also in terms of the transition management, the setup and transactional costs. We start providing here examples of how to overcome those barriers. If we move to the next slide, we also have barriers in terms of the legal issues, and we saw before that the projects already contributed to that, and we clustered some of the outcomes in that regard. And there is a last barrier that has more to do with the change management, with the soft and behavioral measures. And you saw before in the cloud report introduction that we do not have projects contributing to that specific barrier. But this is so because really contributing to all of the three above, so contributing to the scalability, to the transactional cost reduction, and to the legal framework is really contributing to the change management. Having those tools helps companies decide to collaborate. So this is why there is not a specifically contribution to the change management, because all of the above contributes. Next slide. In the second section of the report, we are really analyzing the market. And as I mentioned, not only the roadmaps that wanted to shape the future and set the trends that are going to shape the market, but also the companies that are already operating in the market in terms of coordination and collaboration. And of course, we also have here the ones stemming from the projects, but we save those ones in the presentation for later on. But we also have other companies that, even though they are not stemming from projects, they're contributing to coordination and collaboration, and they're active in the market with a bigger or smaller market share, but they're active in the market. So this is really interesting to see that this is a reality already. And we have companies like CHEP that was doing their traditional business and realized how they could also diversify their business through collaboration because of the learnings they had with their actual customers. We also have ones that are focused on warehousing. We always think of transportation, but warehousing, collaboration for warehousing is also in the market with Plexe or Gossip. And then we have marketplaces like stock booking or Freightera. So we have different solutions and cloud-based solutions as well, like Transporion. So different solutions in the market contributing to collaboration. Next slide. Again, as I mentioned, we grouped the project outcomes in terms of these three main areas, so governance, transactional cost, and legal. Wanted to show you here just a small insights into that, because for sure the report will provide more information. But when we are talking about governance, business, and operational models, we saw that there were tangible results, outcomes that were implemented even at pilot phase or were later taken into the market in all these projects. So we saw that in CO3 project we had business models that, and we have available even at the website, their examples, the calculator for safely game sharing, and even the collaboration trustee game. So this is something that companies can access and utilize. Also from other projects in Nexttrust also contributed to this horizontal collaboration with specifically less than truckload transport flows. But also not only for this kind of horizontal collaboration, but also towards the physical internet, we had Moduluska contributing with business models for that. And later, Iconet contributed in terms of governance models. So you see that all of the topics of this first barrier that we mentioned are already tackled by this kind of projects. And for sure, but some of the market implementations that we saw in the previous section. Next slide. This is one of the barriers that always comes into attention whenever we're talking about collaboration. That is the setup and transactional costs, and how that they can even overcome the efficiency gains that one may have if they are too high, right? So we had projects like Clusters 2.0 that contributed to that in terms of a scale with the cargo stream platform to really have a scale among shippers, but also with a massification project that was bundling freight for train to gather this critical mass to make sure the transactional costs were not overcoming the efficiency gains. Next slide. And last, the project outcomes that had to do with this third barrier on legal aspects. Indeed, in CO3 and Nextras projects, we have examples of legal frameworks. They have set up the legal framework for horizontal collaboration, and we can access the framework, but also the contracts, the different possibilities of collaboration, how they are covered by different kinds of contracts or agreements. So this is something that companies can again access to see how they can fit their needs whenever they want to collaborate. So again, to erase the understanding that collaboration is not legal, because this has been already tackled in the past. Next slide. And then we moved in the collaboration report to the implementation cases. And as I mentioned before, the implementation cases are those where there is a causal link between the outcome and the public funding. Again, that they need to have been taken to the market or to the policy field. In this case, they are all taken into the market. And we can see here, we will see later today, because they are finalists and the jury members will be providing us with more information on each one of them, but that they are stemming from different projects. So Mixmove came from iCargo project, TripAdvisor came from CO3 project, CRC services built upon learnings from CO3, but also came really from a national funded project at French level. And Smartbox came from Modulusca. So there is always a causal link between the successful implementation case and the funding from the public funds for this kind of project. So this is really what we are looking for in implementation cases. And if we move to the last slide, the report is lastly focusing on the implementation paths that we will have to see in the coming 5 years. And we are looking at the company-oriented implementation paths. For sure, there will be also needs in terms of research funds and disease recommendations. We will issue another kind of reports in Buslog. But for the Coordination and Collaboration Cloud report, we wanted to focus on what has to happen in industry. So we will see from these implementation cases, some of them are going to grow in terms of market share, but others that are more disruptive will encounter more barriers, but they have really a scalability potential that can mean a turning point for the sector. Also, how decarbonization is going to be one of the steps we have to follow, but taking into account that not always it means not always reducing costs. So we have to align really how decarbonization not always is going to be aligned with reducing costs, and again, it has to be a reality. If we want to reduce the transition cost that we mentioned is going to hinder collaboration, the way to solve that is to work in terms of digitalization and connectivity. But not only that, because we have seen a lot of initiatives in terms of road transport. If we truly are aiming for implementations across all modes, it means implementations in the rail sector as well. We really need governance models and the rail sector to consider themselves as end-to-end supply chain providers. And last, we also think that in the coming years, we will see the inclusion of carbon emission costs into the total cost. And whenever these costs are included, then the trade-offs are really going to change, because the transactional costs are not really going to be higher than the efficiency gains, because we are taking into account these costs. So next slide. That was all from my side, and we will see each other now in the coming sections of the session. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Carolina. There's a lot of information to digest. I don't have the opportunity to look at the chat box. Is there any questions you would like to ask Carolina? You can also at any time to leave your comments in the chat box. So any questions from the audience, you may just speak as you wish. Okay, and if no further questions, we will make this deliverable available on our website very soon, and you can download the full report very soon. Okay, so next, move to the agendas. We will have the panel. The panel actually consists of the selection committees for this award, and those who evaluate those implementation cases. We mapped and identified And we can invite all our distinguished panelists. So Michael, I will start the presentation just to show the pictures of you all, and you may start to the panel discussions. So we have Michael Asher, who is also the chair of Alice thematic groups on supply chain coordination and collaboration. Okay, Michael.
Great. Thank you, Yanying, very much indeed. So briefly, while pictures of all the panelists are coming up on screen, so I have the honor to have been elected in the summer to the 3-year role as the chair of the thematic group on supply network coordination and collaboration, and building on the excellent work already in place. As a group, our focus is moving towards the necessary actions that will enable the scaling up of coordination and collaboration, so to transition over the valley of death, as referred to earlier on. And based on one of the figures that we saw in the report that Carolina presented, we're organizing ourselves around 3 core themes. First one about increasing load factors, the second reducing empty kilometers, and thirdly the shift from road to rail or water. In each of these areas, we're asking ourselves what needs to happen that's not already being led by credible others to create real impact. We've gathered a team of highly capable vice chairs to lead each of these elements, and I would encourage Alice members and others interested in helping with this work to contact me. In my other life, I work for CHEP, best known for our reusable packaging management of pallets and automotive boxes. In our journey from less harm to net zero to regenerative supply chains, I am responsible for initiating collaborations with customers to reduce their waste footprints. Turning to my fellow panelists, Carolina, who you've met already, is joined by Selim Tanzuk from Unilever, Sergio Barberino from Procter & Gamble, and Eric Ballo from Paris-Mines University. It's been a pleasure to participate together in the selection committee of the award together with all of you. In this roundtable, we want to share our thoughts on the current development of horizontal coordination and collaboration and its role in future supply chains. Selim, you run the European supply chain logistics of one of the biggest FMCG companies in Europe. Unilever is well known as well for driving innovation in supply chain. Which are the key elements for which you envision faster or slower adoption of coordination and collaboration?
Hi, thanks for that. Look, I think we need to start from the place that none of us standalone can actually drive the results that we aspire for, okay? So I think we need to start from the mindset that we all need to collaborate in making sure that everything that you summarized, which is reducing the kilometers or filling the trucks to the maximum and so on and so forth, is to be established when we all start to work. And I guess Alice is a great place for all of us to come together and then establish those. And I think while we were going through the awards and the selection and other stuff as well, what we've realized is there is all these funds available, which is then actually making a lot of these great initiatives come to life so that we actually eventually, the companies can benefit from. So, I mean, I cannot really at this point of time distinguish what is fast, what is more slow, but what is essential is that I think with all the things that we're seeing around the world with the climate change and the things that is being discussed in the COP meeting and etc., I think there's only one option and we need to go as fast as we can, okay? So therefore, all of us need to work in super collaboration to make sure that we are working towards the same goals.
Great, thank you very much indeed. Maybe if I can move on to Sergio. You've participated in some of the referred projects today, CO3, Modulushka, Iconet. And your company's learned a lot about increasing both cube and weightful of trucks, creating horizontal collaboration partnerships, and lately through the Smartbox project. Could you share some of your thoughts on what you've learned?
First of all, let me note that of the project that Carolina talked about, CO3 probably was the cheaper of them all. I mean, it had a total budget of 2 billion euros. And I think it was the one that covered most of the ground. And amazingly so, it was a coordination and support action but it did an enormity of research in that project. So that was absolutely high productivity for the Commission for sure. Out of CO3, we, as you know, I mean, we did research, we did coordination, we also did some what they today would call living labs. I would call them pilots. And some of those pilots were real, right? I mean, there was the Nestlé PepsiCo collaboration that then survived the project. In P&G, we tested these co-shipments with Tupperware that we had to discontinue only because Tupperware moved their manufacturing somewhere else. Otherwise, it would have lasted long. And we used all of the research results, among which the gain sharing formula that was mutuated from the Shapley value. Shapley won the Nobel Prize for Economics in 2013 for that formula. So that was well spotted by the researcher that proposed the formula, Franz Kruisen from Argusai at the time. We also tried the same formula for warehouse collaboration. Actually, this is still long lasting. We share an automatic distribution center in Belgium with Kellogg's. And it's not a service agreement or a contract thing, but it's really a gain sharing type of contract in which we own the assets and Kellogg's pay a share of the benefit by increasing the capacity utilization of the asset that we share together. And that has now lasted for more than 10 years, I think. So it's and so all the framework, also the legal frame, some of the legal frameworks that were developed in CO3 have been utilized. So we did research even in legal and contractual research that is quite unheard of. So absolutely, that was an amazing project. Modulushka was even more interesting because out of Modulushka, we got into some boxes and then we started the litigation on IP rights. I mean, it went very strange at the end of the project, but then we created a group of mutual interest about modular system within ALICE. We transitioned the discussion at the Global Consumer Goods Forum. And then the Consumer Goods Forum issued a white paper on modular logistic units and recommended that the discussion would move in specific markets and categories of products. And then the ball was taken by GS1 in Germany, that then started the Smartbox project at which P&G has participated. So Modulushka is a good example of how you cannot really gauge the impact of research in 3 years after the project has ended. I mean, Modulushka is even an FP7 project, and the Smartbox initiative led by GS1 has just started up now, and it's still in its infancy. But if it's going to grow like we hope, I mean, that's going to have an enormous impact. But then again, you know, I want to recommend the Commission, don't be impatient about being patient about helping the projects getting the outcome needed. And indeed, ALICE in this case, not so much the Commission, but was super helpful in keeping the ball rolling. But don't pretend that everything is going to be up and running and implemented in 3 years after the end of a research and innovation project. That's not possible. The value of the deaf it's true for everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Sergio, very much. Turning to Eric, as one of the founders of the physical internet concept, that's creating actually a framework to collaborate without being in need to agree on such a collaboration. How do you see the physical internet evolving?
Thank you, Michael. Actually, I think there have been maybe a bit of confusion around collaboration. First, I want to clarify this. If collaboration is really needed, as the work that we do with ALICE and all the projects supported by the European Commission, it is strongly needed at that point. After some time, when things are defined, there is less need for collaboration. And for me, the physical internet could work without any kind of collaboration. And if I look at the Modulushka project, it was some kind of tough discussion at the beginning. You were involved and you know exactly what I'm talking about, to coordinate ourselves about what we want, what we need, and how to achieve a couple of goals. So a lot of collaboration between us, collaborations with other partners, as Sergio just mentioned. But now that is going live, I don't think there is a strong need of coordination between the players. It's more like business as usual, but business done in a more not collaborative way, but with some shared goals and shared standards of operations that helps everyone to reach new targets and goals. And I think it's really important to have this in mind, like Jesus mentioned, that it's not because you are on the same boat that you need to collaborate with all the other on board. Same thing for internet. There is no real collaboration between the players. However, it works because there is some kind of consensus on the technical norms that should be used to make it work. And I think that is really what we need and what Moduliska was all about, and now what the GS1 Smart project, Smartbox, is all about. On the other side, I think we have some players that we already mentioned today, Mixmove, Match, but also CRC services that are playing on their side and building tools that will help and will envision what could be physical internet on the large scale. But what they are doing is like pioneers. They explore new territories, not in collaboration because they are not working really to make players collaborate with themselves, between themselves, but to provide a common framework again to help them to go to the next level. I think it is really what we are working at. Again, it is something that is quite tough. I would like to mention to finish the Sensei project with the roadmap, which I think is really key. A common goal shared to collaborate on the different targets is really something that is, from my point of view, useful for the sector. My only regret, if I could say so, is the fact that still we don't have, so far, we don't have some kind of goal for each year, like in the semiconductor industry, where they have that common goal to double the number of transistors on the chip every 18 months. Maybe with the help of the European Commission and the Green Deal and some new targets, the emission reduction could be a goal that could be a driver for all of us, like something like if we share the idea that we must reduce by 7% our emissions every year in total, then we could have easy fruits at the beginning, but then we need to collaborate to find what are the best solutions that could be implemented altogether to reach that target in a sustainable manner. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And I absolutely agree. I think if we're going to have impact, we need to have targets, and we need to be clear what needs to be done by when to hit those targets. Thank you, Eric, very much. Carolina, turning to you, based on the elements of the panel, how do you see BoostLog will contribute to accelerate innovation and supply chain decarbonization?
So really, as I was mentioning in the report presentation, this report is targeting newcomers, is targeting companies, entities that have not participated in the past in projects and that they're interested in the field, but they were maybe hindered by the barriers or not decided to participate in projects. So really showing these examples, showing companies as Procter & Gamble that participated in 3 of those projects and the learnings and the successful stories they have to tell, they can incentivize new companies to participate. So this is really the role that BoostLog is going to play in terms of attracting, appealing to newcomers to European projects. But also we are going to continue that not only beyond the BoostLog, because in ALICE, in the framework of the collaboration and coordination group, we're going to take the learnings of this BoostLog report and continue that to make it even more actionable for companies and make sure this attracts interest from industry.
Right. Thank you, Carolina, very much indeed. Yan Ying, I believe.
Hi, so we conclude this panels. We will go to the fun part. We will make the announcement of our winners. As you can see that we already know the candidate cases. So Carolina, let me move the slides and then you can start it with the first one.
Yeah, before starting, sorry, previous slide, can you?
Sorry, we already tell the secret.
So before starting, I just wanted to share with you that this jury we met and we had this criteria for these 4 implementation cases that I mentioned in the report, and we really assessed the link between the public funding and the implementation itself, also the success of the market implementation, but again the scalability and the growth potential. So not only how they were established now, but the potential they had to grow in the future. And now, without further ado, I think, Janji, we can move to the next slide. And we see that the Logistics Innovation Silver Award goes to Trivisor in the category of Enterprise. And we have Michael, I think. Yeah, no, sorry. We have Selim awarding this award. So Selim, if you can say some words about Trivisor, please.
Hi, we have a Bart ready to take. So maybe you can introduce yourself, Bart.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this award. Thank you for this recognition. Yeah. First of all, I have to mention that projects like CO3 and also Next Trust has helped us in sharing ideas, in elaborating new concepts and in validating new business concepts. So very helpful. So thank you for that. As you probably know, Trivisor was founded in 2008. So with Alex and Sven and myself as founders, with a mission. And our mission was and is still and still is to promote collaboration. And indeed, collaboration, what's in a name? So there are different shapes, different ways, but always focusing on, well, let's say the more organizational or social aspects. So not really on technology, but more on indeed process innovation. And we are happy with this recognition, because sometimes we are not considered as real innovators because of that lack of focus on technology. So for us, our point is that collaboration is quite important in different ways, and might be also the future, in order to bundle flows and to prepare in a certain way also the physical internet. So we see it as a step in the good direction. So very grateful, very thanks to you all, thanks to the jury, and hopefully we can continue to work together within Alice, preparing indeed the future of our transport and logistics system. So thank you.
Thank you, Bart. So we move to the next award, and it goes to the Silver Award in category Enterprise go to CRC Services. We have Xavier here, and Eric, you can hand the award of Xavier. You prefer to say some words yourself, Eric?
I'm very glad that this award recognizes all the efforts made by CRC Services since a couple of years to develop their companies and help their customers to consolidate flows without asking them too much coordination. And I think it's quite a challenge also, if we know that this company was developed with very limited resources. But even if they had limited resources, they've been able to prove by operations that a couple of concepts really make sense. But I would like to give the floor to Xavier.
Well, hello everybody. I'm sorry, I'm in an exhibition now, so I'm sorry. Maybe you cannot hear me, but thank you very much for this prize. First of all, it's a big surprise. We started from physical collaboration with cross-dock platforms to enable shippers to mutualize their 100 last miles. And then we switched progressively to digital services with our platform that we set up 2 years ago called Colivri. and it is an optimization platform that enable shippers to better organize their transportation using the last research in operational research and artificial intelligence. So we are very happy to receive this prize, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Xavier. If we move to the next award, Yanjin, it's the Gold Award for Coordination and Collaboration in the category of the prize goes to Mixmove, and it's handed over by Michael, and Knut is here as well, so congratulations, Knut.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Knut, it was great. So from the selection committee, we're saying that although Mixmove was created based on ICO cargo, it's been developed beyond the project outcomes. It's been offering to the logistics sector intelligent coordination between shipper, carrier, hub, distributor, and the end customer. They've been boosting efficiency and reducing costs and emissions for all actors in the supply chain. This award is very well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Really much appreciated, and thank you to the jury. And I think we are on a very, very exciting journey. I mean, Mixmove has the North Star for Mixmove is the physical internet, and we felt that we were scaring off the customers when we said that. So we haven't lowered our ambitions, but we don't talk that much about it. But for us, it's like we believe that parcels will move through networks of hub like emails are doing on servers today. Nobody is questioning which server the emails hits when it arrives in your mailbox, and we think that will happen also with parcels. To get there, we need collaboration, and we need to build on the opportunity to have a network of networks working together, and that's what we are actually achieving with our customers as well. We see now that we are integrated with more and more customers cross-border between countries, which is really good to see. We see that others are collaborating, like was mentioned here. They are bringing in goods from several shippers, put them into and optimize it with the Mixmove solution so that the truck rates are filled about 90%. And we also see it in the UK, where there's a shortage of drivers. And due to the shortage of drivers, we see that shippers are coming together to see how can we utilize the resources which is available, and then they have then challenged us to help them with that. So we see that by building stone by stone and work on this collaboration, it's really exciting to be there. It's a long journey because collaboration is not the new normal. It should be, but it will be probably due to the pandemic and what we see. We have also a really, really exciting process or project going on now, like with Move 21, where the municipalities of Oslo, Gothenburg, Hamburg, Munich, and Rome is working together to see how they can utilize all the passenger traffic, or saying the buses and the trams and everything that goes on a regular basis into the city. How can that be utilized when there's not full of people coming in? And Mixmove is the awarded platform in that collaboration. So we see that we can actually now, in one of the municipalities, we can actually see the first sign of a physical internet within a city. So we are really excited. Really, thank you so much for awarding us this award. That's really highly appreciated, and really proud of the team that have managed to get so far with our solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Knut. And if we move to the last award of the day, it goes in the category of Transformative Solution, Gold Award to Smartbox. And Sergio presents the award, and Matthias is here as well to receive. So Sergio, please.
Okay, yes. I mean, I already mentioned Smartbox before. No, I would really want to thank the amazing work done by GS1 Germany to making this a reality. As I said, we started working this in Modulushka, then we moved to the Consumer Goods Forum, and then I remember I traveled around Europe talking to teams in UK, France, Italy, and everybody said, Sergio, if you want to create a new industry standard, the best place to go is Germany. And so as usual, Europe working for the best, it was amazing that in Germany, I think one of the big retailers there, DM, and one of my colleagues, Rainer, that I think is connected as well, the idea they brought it to JS1, and JS1 really kept going until it became a reality and an agreement that was not easy to get, and then some activation in the market that has started since a few months. So really congratulations for going for the going far together. I mean, you don't go fast for sure, but you achieve amazing results. So congratulations to JS1 Germany for this project. Matthias.
Thank you very much to the jury and all of you. It was a big surprise for us to be nominated for this category. So thank you. I think this is not a prize for GS1. Because GS1 is nothing without the company supporting the platform, and this is a prize for the whole project group, and I will submit it to them as well. So very thank you. I'm really overwhelmed about this, and yeah, this was a really long journey. It takes us about 5 years to 6 years to bring this to market, and now we are ready to go into scalability, and this is what gains the highest profit for the companies and the best thing for environment, because if we reach high scalability, there will be more service points, and this makes even the distances for contributing these industries and retailers with a Smartbox shorter, and the shorter the distances, the better is it for our climate situation, you know. And so I can say thank you. This standard is going to life, and this is why I'm working for GS1 Germany. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. And thank you and congrats to all the recipients of the awards. And this was just to show that you can see up to 10 years it took to, in many cases, to have the solutions where they are now. And this also shows the time that is needed from the project start to really have an implemented solution in the market. And also we can see from all the 4 cases that the success factors were really to have the know-how, but also have the potential users involved in the project stage to really try the solutions, and also have somebody willing to take that into the market after the project. So those were the key success stories behind those implementation cases. And I think we can move to the final remarks for the session for the sake of time. Thank you, Tianjin.
Thank you very much. I would take this opportunities to thanks to everybody, and you may switch on your cameras to join me and the selection committees to congratulate all the winners, and also big thanks to all the speakers.
Thank you.
Any remark from all the juries and winners? Otherwise, we can close this session.
I think we will have Michael have some final remarks.
Yeah.
Yes, so thank you, Karina. Thank you, Yang. So really, to finish, say that Alice is going to use this report that's come from BoostLog, right, to structure our future activities, particularly in the cooperation and collaboration thematic group. One of the things we're going to be working on is the creation of simple decision trees to help people who are first coming into this collaboration area to actually understand what the logical sequence of steps is, and to build in that, make the knowledge really accessible. The focus for the first quarter and second quarter of 2022 will be the combination of decision trees, understanding better the carbon footprint of European freight to make sure we're focusing in the right places, and in particular working on the readiness for scale. So looking beyond the technical readiness levels together with BoostLog, say what actually needs to be in place for an idea to really scale up in a big way. So if I take as an example, what needs to be true for the Smartbox project that's been pioneered here by GS1 to actually be out there really making an impact right across Europe. So I'd like to finish up just thanking everybody for their taking part in the award session. Thank you, Yang, for organizing it all, for Carolina, for the team with all the work, and for my fellow presenters. hugely appreciated. And anybody who'd like to join the Alice group or take part in any of the activities to move this agenda forward and to help us decarbonize logistics, please get in touch through Alice. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Michael, for that excellent remarks. So we are a few minutes delayed, but very nice sessions. I really truly enjoyed it, and thank you very much, and have a great evening. Get in touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Have a
Rick.
good time. Take care.